AITA for not wanting to participate in my family's one gift swap Christmas idea. So last night I, Mark, 22M, went with my mom to visit my older brother, Simon, 27M, at his apartment. My other brother, Dave, 24M, was there too. We were hanging out, eating, and catching up, which doesn't happen often since we rarely have free time at the same time. Christmas is going to feel different this year because, for the first time, we're not all spending it together. Dave is spending the holiday with his wife and kids at his in-laws, and Simon is doing the same with his wife. As for me, I'll be with my mom, stepdad, partner, and grandma. We plan to meet up after Christmas to all see each other, but it won't feel the same. Anyway, during our time together, Dave brought up an idea he's been really excited about. He wants us all to spend $50 on one gift, wrap it in neutral wrapping paper, and then do a gift swap. Here's how it works. The first person picks a gift, and each person after that can either pick a new gift or steal an already opened gift. At the end, the first person has one last chance to swap with anyone. Here's the thing. I really don't want to do it. For me, Christmas isn't about receiving gifts. It's about giving them. I love the process of choosing something meaningful for each person, something that I think will truly make them happy. Seeing their reaction is what matters to me. This one gift swap idea feels too impersonal and honestly kind of corporate. And to clarify, no, my brother's not tight on money. He's actually doing pretty well financially, much more than me, but that's beside the point. So, WIBTA if I told my brother that I'd rather not participate in his gift swap idea. I still want to give everyone thoughtful, personal gifts, but this type of exchange just doesn't sit right with me. Wow! I wasn't expecting so many replies, and I can't respond to everyone individually, so I thought I'd add an edit here. First off, everyone in my family is pretty well off, including Dave's in-laws, Simon's family, and so on. Simon and his wife aren't really into the idea of doing a white elephant gift exchange this year, and neither are my mom or stepdad. We all know how complicated Christmas can get as the family grows, and honestly, we prefer to do a Secret Santa instead. Just to add some more context, Dave's mother-in-law is outright refusing to participate in the white elephant and is insisting on getting an expensive gift. If she doesn't get what she wants, she says she won't come to their Christmas celebration, which is just adding to the drama. Dave can be pretty controlling, and most of the time, we just let him have his way because it's easier than dealing with attention if things don't go his way. He tends to make everyone uncomfortable if things aren't exactly as he wants them. My mom also isn't thrilled about the white elephant idea because of what happened last year. My mom and grandma had booked a holiday home in Salem for Christmas, with my mom covering about 90% of the cost and my grandma contributing around 10%. But then, my brothers ended up getting gifts for our grandma as a thank you while giving nothing to our mom, who had covered most of the expenses. To make matters worse, both Dave and Simon bought expensive gifts for their mothers-in-law, but didn't even think to get anything small for our mom. My mom isn't materialistic. She'd be happy with a simple thank you card. But that's one reason she's not on board with White Elephant this year. As for me, I'd rather skip getting a gift altogether than end up with something I don't want. So, this year, I've decided to focus on gifts for my partner. This is our second Christmas together, and her family doesn't celebrate, as well as for my mom, stepdad, grandma, and the nieces and nephews. At the end of the day, we just want to find a middle ground that works for everyone. We're hoping that Dave can feel satisfied too, but we'll see how it all turns out. I'll keep you updated on any compromises or how things go in December. A few days ago, Grandma told us Dave had something important to share. Well, it turned out that important was just him rehashing the white elephant idea, complete with rules. And this wasn't a what do you guys think moment. It was more like, this is what we're doing, no discussion. Here's the thing about Dave. He's a control freak. Last year, he strong-armed us into doing Secret Santa, which most of us hated but didn't challenge because you don't mess with Dave. This year, I decided to stand up for myself and said, hey, this isn't fun for most of us. The white elephant feels corporate and joyless, It's not what Christmas means to our family. I even suggested that we stick with Secret Santa if the issue is cost. Apparently, this was blasphemy. Not long after, Mom called me in tears. She admitted that the white elephant idea made her feel awful. She said it hurt her that her sons didn't want to buy her a Christmas gift anymore, especially when she does so much for everyone. Then, she went full mom mode in the group chat. She said she didn't like the white elephant idea because she loves personal gift giving. She directly asked Rachel and Eva if they planned to skip individual gifts for their own families too. Both Rachel and Eva said, "Oh no, we'll still get individual gifts for our families." Cue Mom's second call to me, angrier and sadder. She feels like she's being treated as a second-class family member by her sons, who will put effort into gifts for their in-laws, but can't be bothered to buy anything for her. And honestly, she has a point. My brothers either get her last-minute junk or forget entirely. I called Mia at event, and she was fuming. She'd been budgeting over $300 to get thoughtful gift for everyone. This being her first Christmas with my family, she wanted to make a good impression. She said that if we're doing a white elephant, it's a waste. Her gifts won't even go to the right people. Meanwhile, my stepsisters, Edie and Tatum, jumped in to say they also hated the white elephant idea. Edie even called it lazy on Dave's part. Hero, feeling the heat, Dave proposed a vote. White elephant or Secret Santa. But by this point, I was done. I dropped out entirely, and so did Edie, Tatum, Mia, Mom, Stepdad, and Grandma. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, Eva suddenly chimed in with a new idea. Since so many people are dropping out, let's just do gift for the kids. She framed it as a compromise, but honestly, it was her way of shutting down the adults entirely. Dave, Simon, and Rachel jumped on board, and Dave declared, "Christmas is only for kids." "Okay, sure, Dave," face with rolling eyes. So now, it's chaos. Mom, Mia, Edie, Tatum, and I have decided we'll exchange gifts with each other. We're still getting presents for the kids because they're innocent in all this, but Dave, Simon, Rachel, and Eva, they're getting nothing from us. Christmas plans are totally up in the air, and honestly, this whole thing has killed the holiday vibe for me. It's a mess, and while it's not the resolution I wanted, at least I know who's on Team Christmas Spirit. If Christmas is just for kids now, then Dave, Simon, Rachel, and Eva can go be kids together. Meanwhile, I'll be over here with my mom, stepsisters, and Mia, celebrating with love, laughter, and thoughtful gifts. So yeah, not the happy update I wanted, but there it is. Holy freaking shit, my brother might be in debt. I'm at work right now, so please forgive me for any grammar mistakes. I'm typing this on my phone while I'm heading back to my desk. But yeah, things have gotten pretty wild. So, Mark here with a serious update. Dave, my brother, finally came clean to our mom about why he's been pushing for the Secret Santa idea last year and then insisting on the white elephant this year. Turns out, he's drowning in debt. Apparently, Dave and his wife Rachel have been living well beyond their means. Fancy vacations, expensive gadgets, high-end clothes, you name it. They've almost maxed out their credit cards trying to live this extravagant lifestyle, like they're stars of some reality show. Now, they're in way over their heads financially. Dave admitted to my mom that he's been struggling with PTSD and is planning to start therapy because he feels lost and has no idea how to get out of this mess. Mom, being the straight shooter she is, told him that he needs to stop spending money like this, especially on that ridiculous new house deal they're trying to make happen. But Dave being Dave, he's not listening. He's terrified that his friends and co-workers will judge him if he can't keep up the rich guy persona. It's crazy. Like, dude, no one cares as much as you think they do. But I guess egos are wild. Huh? Look, I feel bad for him. I really do. It's not easy dealing with those kinds of struggles, but at the same time, how do you spend money like it's Monopoly cash and not expect it to catch up with you? I just don't get it. Still, I wish I could help him in some way. I can't help him financially. I don't make a ton of money myself, but I could at least help out with the kids so he and Rachel can try to figure this whole thing out. As for Christmas, Well, I'll admit, I tried to be a little petty. I thought about just buying gifts for the family members who weren't into this white elephant nonsense, plus my nieces and nephews. But then, my guilt kicked in. I ended up getting something for Dave, Rachel, Simon, and Eva too. I know they're probably not going to give me anything in return, but whatever. Christmas isn't really about presents, right? I just hope Dave wakes up from this whole mess and learns to stop spending money he doesn't have. But I can't exactly tell him that, you know? I'm the younger brother, and it's not like I want to be the one to give him a lecture. This will probably be my last update on this post, and honestly, it might be my last post on Reddit for a while. I've decided to sign out for a bit and focus on dealing with everything that's been going on in my life. It's really late right now, and I just got back from spending some time with my mom. Apparently, someone shared my post with her, and she told me she was disappointed. Not in a harsh way, but more because she could tell I've been carrying the weight of trying to fix Dave's problems all by myself. I don't know why, but hearing her say it finally broke something inside me. It made me realize that I've been struggling for a long time without even realizing how much I was bottling up. My mom said she could see something was off because I've stopped eating properly, and in her words, looked like a Victorian child. That was when it really hit me. I hadn't fully understood how much stress I was carrying until she pointed it out. She reminded me that it's not my job to fix everything, especially not my brother's mess. She also told me that Dave, as stubborn and impulsive as he is, will figure things out eventually. It's his journey to go through, not mine to carry for him. On top of that, my mom has been having direct conversations with Dave about everything. She suggested that he and Rachel seriously consider backing out of the house deal they're trying to make and look for somewhere more affordable. She reassured him that no one would judge him for making that decision, that it was okay to step back if that was what was best for them. As for the Christmas situation, we've decided to cancel the gift swaps with the original group who wanted to do the white elephant exchange. Instead, I'm planning to save the gifts I had for them and give them out on their birthdays, so they still get something personal from me. I've also made another big decision. I'm going to step back from my family for a while and focus on moving forward with my plans to relocate my job to Zurich. I care about Dave and always will, but I need to stop being so selfless and start being more selfish when it comes to my own life. I need to prioritize my own mental health and future for once. Dave's a smart guy, and I know he'll figure things out. I'll always be here to support him emotionally, but I realize that I can't continue to support him financially anymore. It's just not sustainable, and I can't keep enabling this behavior. I also want to thank everyone who's followed along and offered advice. It's really meant a lot to me. One more big decision I've made is to check myself into therapy to start addressing the depression and mental health struggles I've been ignoring for far too long. It's time to stop putting that off and finally deal with it. So, that's where I'm at. Thanks for everything, and take care, everyone. Now on to the next story. I broke my friend's relationship with his sister. When I was 15, I experienced something that shaped my life in difficult ways. A close family friend, an older woman in her late 40s, abused me repeatedly until I turned 18 and left home. At that point, my father and sister had both passed away, leaving me in a fragile emotional state. That abusive relationship skewed my understanding of intimacy and trust for years, affecting the way I approached relationships until I turned 21. By then, I had started to piece my life together and met the woman who would eventually become my wife. We've now been married for 20 years, but before meeting her, I went through a turbulent phase. Between the ages of 15 and 21, I made many poor decisions regarding intimacy. Nothing illegal, but my judgment and respect for boundaries were not where they should have been. The incident I regret the most involved a close friend from my childhood. Growing up, my home life was chaotic, and when I moved out, I left most of it behind. He was one of the few people I stayed in touch with, despite us attending different universities and forming new social circles. One weekend, he invited me to a party after a rugby match. He promised it would be fun, with plenty of young women there. At the party, I met his younger sister. I hadn't seen her in years and barely recognized her. At 19, she was no longer the girl I remembered, but a confident, attractive young woman. She greeted me warmly, hugged me, and we spent the entire evening talking. We reminisced about the neighborhood, shared gossip, and caught up on life. She wasn't drinking much, nursing a single wine cooler most of the night, while I stayed sober. As the night progressed, I noticed her flirting. I brushed it off at first, assuming it was just her friendly personality. Eventually, she mentioned that she had been in a long-term relationship, but they had decided to take a break when her boyfriend joined the military. She confided in me about her loneliness and her struggles to connect with new people. When the party ended, her brother left with someone, and I offered to drive her home. At her parents' house, she invited me in for pizza. Her parents said a quick hello and went to bed, leaving us in the kitchen. After eating, she suggested we take the food upstairs for some privacy. I knew where things were headed, but I didn't stop it. Moments later, we were in her room, and one thing led to another. By the time I left, I felt conflicted. The next morning, I sent her a message saying I'd enjoyed our evening and suggested we go on a proper date. She responded enthusiastically, and I genuinely thought we could explore a relationship. That optimism didn't last long. Her brother called me later that day, furious. He accused me of disrespecting his family and threatened to fight me. Their parents, who were open-minded and understanding, weren't upset about the situation. They believed it was better for their daughter to be safe at home rather than engaging in risky behavior elsewhere. I tried to explain to my friend that it wasn't planned and that I respected his sister, but he didn't want to hear it. He cut me off completely, telling me to forget about him and his family. When I reached out to his sister, she told me her brother had exploded, calling her terrible names. Their parents tried to mediate, but he left in a rage. She suggested we stop seeing each other, at least for a while. Months passed, and I began dating the woman who would become my wife. One evening, we ran into my friend at the movies. I approached him to say hello, but he insulted me in front of my girlfriend, calling me names and bringing up what happened with his sister. I remained calm and wished him well, though the encounter was deeply awkward. Later, I told my girlfriend the story. She laughed, saying his reaction seemed overblown, and suggested I check in with his sister. When I did, she told me her brother still wouldn't speak to her or acknowledge her. Despite their parents' efforts, he remained distant and resentful. Years went by, and I moved on. Occasionally, I heard updates about my friend. He got married, divorced, and remarried, but I didn't hear much about his sister. Recently, while at a cafe with my wife and kids, a woman approached us. It was his sister. She had changed over the years, but her voice was unmistakable. We chatted briefly, reminiscing about the past. She shared that her relationship with her brother never recovered. She tried to make amends when their father passed, but he wanted no part of it. She reassured me that what happened between us wasn't a big deal. We were just kids having fun, she said, laughing off her brother's reaction. Before leaving, she exchanged social media details with my wife, and they wished each other well. Looking back, I feel some guilt for the pain I caused their family. But I also recognize that we were young and made decisions without understanding the long-term impact. Sometimes, relationships break not because of one act, but because of deeper, unresolved issues.